Hey, this is Scene Detail. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my prediction for World Series of Fighting 16, Palhares versus Fitch, which happens on December 13th. Overall, I'm just mainly talking about the main card. I'll do predictions on the prelim card, but I'll admit I don't know a lot of the fighters that are fighting on the undercard. Main card's actually pretty good, though. You have really good prospect in Sheymon Moraes, Rick Glenn. If you can still really call him a prospect, he's really good. Who's against Lance Palmer, who's also a really good prospect. You have one of the more intriguing fights, one of the more intriguing welterweight fights that's outside the UFC, and Palhares versus Fitch. So overall, not a bad card, actually. Let's get started. Rousimar Palhares fights Jon Fitch. And this is for the WSOF welterweight title. Fitch has a 26-6 record with 1 draw and 1 no contest. 5 wins by KO or TKO, 5 wins by sub. That's those 2 losses by KO or TKO. And 2 losses by sub. I think he's still training out of AK these days. It's a situation where he lives in Vegas or somewhere. I forgot where he lives, but he still trains at AK. He is a well-known grinder who has good wrestling. His takedown defense is solid. He's really relentless about getting takedowns, especially if it's against a cage. He has a good clinch game and good top control as well. He has this type of ground and pound, similar to Chael Sonnen, which I like to call stay busy ground and pound, where it's ground and pound that's not going to finish a fight, but it's just extremely high volume to the point where, you're busy enough where the ref will not stand you up. Stand-up's kind of average. His chin, I feel, is kind of deteriorating at this point. There's something to be said with his age, too. I gotta start wondering if he's kind of declining, actually, at this point. Palhares, 16-6 record, 13 wins by submission, 3 wins by decision. That's his 3 losses by KO or TKO. 34 years old on a 2-fight win streak. Training out of Team Nogueira. He is the WSOF welterweight champion. He is a top-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, really well known for his leg locks. He'll even pull guard to get those leg locks. Maybe I shouldn't say pull guard, but he will dive for leg locks. Super strong guy. The guy his nickname is Tree Stump because, dude, he's like a little tree stump. He's just super strong guy. His wrestling's actually really good. He has a good offensive takedown game. Stand-up's a bit average. Big problem with Palhares really is mental, I think. He shows some real susceptibility to ground and pound as well. The guy, when he fought, Nate Marquardt, for example, he lost by ground and pound. When he lost to Belcher, lost by ground and pound. He just has this weird susceptibility to ground and pound. So that actually makes the fight interesting because Jon Fitch loves his ground and pound. This one's actually really hard for me to call, though, because I don't know if Jon Fitch will have an easy time taking down Palhares, if he even wants to take him down there, because this is a guy that will roll for a leg lock. He's a guy, Palhares is a guy that will submit other black belts. He submitted David Branch, for example, among others. He's just a guy. He's the black belt's black belt. So I don't know if Jon Fitch wants to take it there. And if it's on the feet, I don't really give the advantage to Fitch on the feet. That's the problem. So And at least power-wise, I got to go with Palhares. So, with that said, I got to go with Rousimar Palhares to win this one. It's just, I see the avenue for Fitch to win if he wants to play his game of grinding against the cage, maybe getting the takedown against the cage, and start unloading ground and pound. Might work on Palhares, actually. It's a good chance it could work. He said Palhares, for some weird reason, shows susceptibility to ground and pound. However, there's also the idea that Fitch might not want to take down Palhares because he is so strong on the ground and on the stand-up. I actually don't trust Fitch's chin. I don't think Palhares likes getting hit clean either. But at least power-wise, I gotta go with Palhares. He hasn't seen as much of the decline too as Fitch seemingly looks like he's at right now. So yeah, Rousimar Palhares for the win there. Next fight after that, Rick Glenn fights Lance Palmer for the WSOF featherweight title. Rick Glenn has a 15-2 record with 1 draw, 8 wins by KO TKO, 5 wins by sub. 25 years old on an 8-fight win streak, training out of Roufusport. He is the WSOF featherweight champion, beating Georgi Karakhanyan by retirement. A lot of it's mainly from ground and pound though. He has some really strong ground and pound. Stand-up's really good, as expected from someone from Roufusport. His takedown defense is improving. Lance Palmer, 8-1 record, 4 wins by submission, 4 wins by decision. 26 years old, training out of Team Alpha Male. He's a strong wrestler with really good top control. His stand-up is improving as well. Here's the thing with this fight. I will say this. I think Lance Palmer can get the fight to the ground. I don't know if he can keep it there. And I don't know if he can finish Rick Glenn in 5 rounds. If he wins, I see Palmer winning against a guy like Rick Glenn, most likely decision victory if he wins. Strong possibility. It's not outside the realm of possibility here. I do feel that Rick Glenn has a couple more tools to win the fight, particularly with strikes. Well on the ground, I think he's probably arguably the better, arguably going to have the better stand-up as well. It's really the wrestling that's one of the bigger difference makers here, though. So, tough for me to say, to be honest with you. You got to understand, though, guys in Roufusport, they train with Ben Askren. He's the head wrestling coach there, if I'm not mistaken. And you can actually see his work in a lot of Roufusport fighters. So with that said, I am going to go with Rick Glenn to retain the featherweight championship. Really good fight though, actually. Both guys are prospects. Both guys could easily win fights in the UFC right now too, if they wanted to. And both guys are getting better, so. But I like more of what I see out of Rick Glenn at this point, at this juncture. So Rick Glenn for the win there. Next fight, that Sheymon Moraes fights Gabriel Solorio. Solorio has an 11-7 record, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. Also has 6 losses by submission. Sheymon Moraes, 6-0 undefeated record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by decision. 24 years old, training out of Team Magara. Some strong Muay Thai. Actually saw this one fight of his, and he finished the dude with a standing elbow. The finishing sequence started with a standing elbow, and then some follow-up strikes. This guy, he's training with the right guys. He's still young. Has a good Muay Thai base. I gotta go with Sheymon Moraes for the win here. If I'm not mistaken, he's actually in, I believe it's Patrick Wyman's Searching for Future Champions list in Bloody Elbow. I forgot what place he was in the list. I know Rick Glenn, I think, was on that list as well. But Sheymon Moraes was on that list as well. So he's a prospect I'm looking out for. Next fight after that, Josh Berkovic fights Brenson Hansen. Berkovic, 5-0 undefeated record, 1 win by TKO, 3 wins by sub. I made sure to watch one of his bouts. I forgot against who though. What I liked about Berkovic though was that he had good offensive takedown ability and solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. Brenson Hansen, 6-2 record, 1 win by KO, 5 wins by decision, 25 years old, training out of Extreme Couture. I saw one of his World Series of Fighting fights actually to get caught up on him. I liked what I saw from his stand-up. It was solid. It wasn't great or anything, but it was solid. His offensive takedown ability looked pretty decent as well. Tough one for me to call. They're both two guys that have less than 10 fights. I want to say Berkovic actually is on the Ultimate Fighter 20. I believe he was one of the coaches or like assistant coaches to Gilbert Melendez, if I'm not mistaken. Nonetheless, tough one for me to call. Two guys with not too many fights under their belt. But I'll go with Brenson Hansen. I liked what I saw from him in that one fight I saw. It's one of his World Series of Fighting fights. He looked pretty solid. So right after that, Justin Buchholz fights Luis Gonzalez. Luis Gonzalez has a 9-1 record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 5 wins by sub, 27 years old. He's a good wrestler with good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. Justin Buchholz, 15-8 record, 7 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub. Also has 3 losses by KO TKO, 3 losses by sub. 31 years old, trains on Team Alpha Male. Definitely one of those guys that's good everywhere, but not great at any one aspect of MMA. Good stand-up, good grappler. Won a fight by front kick, actually, to the face. Anderson Silva style. I forgot against who, though. I remember I was watching Luis Gonzalez fight. Last fight I saw was him against Palomino, where he got knocked out. Didn't like what I saw from his stand-up. He was winging some overhands a lot of times. Couldn't get the takedown against Palomino. Buchholz trains in one of the top camps out there. Trains with some of the top wrestlers out there. And definitely a guy that's, I want to say, been around the block pretty much. So I'm going to go with Justin Buchholz to win that one. Got on the prelims. I have seen Dave Huckaba fight. He fights CJ Leveque. Don't know anything about Leveque. I just know he has an 8-7 record. Well, it's not that I don't know. I never watched footage of Leveque. But yeah, I know he has an 8-7 record, 4 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. Also has 4 losses by KO TKO, 3 losses by sub. 29 years old on a 4-fight win streak. Huckaba, 21-7 record, 17 wins by KO TKO, 3 wins by sub. Also has 4 losses by KO TKO, 40 years old on a 2-fight losing streak. One thing that's notable about Huckaba is that he beat his boss up, Ray Sefo, in a World Series of Fighting card. He has good stand-up, heavy-handed. Cardio isn't so great. Tough guy, kind of like one of those tough and gritty guys. I'll go with Dave Huckaba to win that one. Next fight after that, David Mitchell fights Justin Baesman. I've actually seen both these guys fight. Baesman's fought in Bellator. Mitchell has actually fought in the UFC. Baesman, 15-5 record with 1 draw, 4 wins by KO TKO, 3 wins by sub. He also has 4 losses by submission. 33 years old. Kind of average everywhere, not great at any one aspect of MMA. Stand-up's not too bad. His grappling's not too bad. I remember last time I saw him fight, though, he got knocked out by like a flying knee from Korshkov? I think so. Or Sanovsky. I think it was Korshkov. David Mitchell, 16-4 record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 11 wins by sub, 35 years old on a 4-fight win streak. Training out of, from last I read, he trains on Team Alpha Male. His ground skills are really good. Stand-up's average. But yeah, I'm going to go with David Mitchell to win this one. I think, especially if this fight hits the ground and if he's on top, I think he can get the win there. Next fight after that, don't know anything about these guys. I've seen Dominic Waters, actually. Dominic Waters fights Martin Sano. I know I've seen Waters. I just forgot what his skill set's about. So Waters, 6-2 record, 3 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. Martin Sano, 4-0 undefeated record, 1 win by TKO, 3 wins by sub. 23 years old. He is a finisher. Don't know. Haven't seen any footage of these guys lately. I'm gonna go with Martin Sano to win that one. Next fight after that, David Tarzan Douglas fights Sinjen Smith. Smith's actually fought in Bellator, and Tarzan has fought in Strikeforce actually. David Douglas has an 8-5 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. Also has 3 losses by KO or TKO and 2 losses by sub. 32 years old, 3-fight losing streak, training out of Cesar Gracie's. Last fought in October 2012. He's a finisher with no decisions. I remember he was like a really aggressive fighter. Last time I saw him fight, he's fought the likes of like Carlos Fedor in Strikeforce. Who was he fight? Forgot who else he's fought though. Sinjen Smith, 2-0 undefeated record, 1 win by sub, 1 win by decision. Only 22 years old. You know what? I'll go with David Tarzan Douglas to win this one. I honestly forgot. I know that Sinjen Smith fought in Bellator before. I've actually seen the fight, but for the life of me, I can't remember what his game's about. Sorry to say. I'm being perfectly honest with you guys, but so yeah, some of these guys, I'll tell you, I don't. I haven't seen any like footage of them, or I just don't know anything about these guys. So, kind of a coin flip for me here. I'll go with David Douglas to win that one. Next fight after that, Drey Mitchell fights Erick Sanchez. Know nothing about these two guys. I have not watched any footage of these guys. I know that Drey Mitchell has a 2-2 record, 1 win by KO, 1 win by sub, 26 years old. Erick Sanchez, 1-1 record with his 1 win by TKO. He's 24 years old. Just again pick Erick Sanchez to win that one. Next fight after that, Jason Powell fights Chris Avila. Chris Avila has a 1-1 record, 1 win by decision, 1 loss by decision. Same deal from here on out. Like, I haven't watched any footage of these guys, so I'm just kind of coin flipping right here. So, yeah, take what I say here with a grain of salt, really. Jason Powell, 1-1 record, 1 win by sub, 1 loss by sub. He's only 21 years old. I'll go with Jason Powell to win that one. Next fight after that, Christian Espinosa fights Joseph Moraes. Moraes has no pro MMA fights. He has a 3-0 with 1 draw as an amateur, with his 3 wins being by submission as an amateur. Christian Espinosa, 2-0 undefeated record. 1 of his wins is by TKO. The other one's by decision. 23 years old. I'll go with the guy who has pro fights, Christian Espinosa, for the win there. And finally, Dylan Blakesly fights Justin Durham. Blakesly has no pro MMA fights. He's had 1 amateur fight, and he won that amateur fight by submission. With Durham, no pro MMA fights. He was 2-0 as an amateur, with 1 win by TKO and 1 win by sub as an amateur. I'll go with Justin Durham for the win there. Okay, the prelim. To recap, I got Rousimar Palhares over Jon Fitch, Rick Glenn beating Lance Palmer, Sheymon Moraes over Gabriel Solorio, Brenson Hansen beating Josh Berkovic, Justin Buchholz over Luis Gonzalez. On the prelims, Dave Huckaba over CJ Leveque, David Mitchell over Justin Baesman, Martin Sano beating Dominic Waters, David Douglas over Sinjen Smith, Erick Sanchez over Drey Mitchell, Jason Powell beating Chris Avila, Christian Espinosa over Joseph Moraes, and Justin Durham over Dylan Blakesly. So that's it for my predictions for World Series of Fighting 16, Palhares versus Fitch. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.